Yeah. So good morning, one and all. A warm welcome to everyone. So myself, Kaushik, business executive at Manage CI. Welcome back to the 35th webinar of the Saturday webinar series, Startup Pitching for Funding and DPR Preparation, Center for Innovation and Agripreneurship, hosted at National Institute of Agricultural Extension Management, is one of the leading agribusiness incubators in India. Manage CI has incubated more than 275 startups and from various focus areas in the agri and allied space across India. So today we are going to discuss about the topic startup pitching as well as funding, which covers two different types of aspects like debt funding as well as equity funding. So how is it really possible? How to approach the banks and what is the procedure going from A to Z? So we'll get to know about many more details regarding this all particular topics. I request Dr. Saravanan Raj, Director, Agricultural Extension of National Institute of Agricultural Extension Management and CEO of Manage CIA to give the initial remarks. Thank you.
Good morning to all. Panel members can unmute their videos. Can we see Mr. Abhishek and Mr. Anil Sankar and Mr. Raghav Rao? Yeah.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning, sir. Yeah. Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning, sir. Anil Sankar, sir, you are there, sir?
Yeah, I'm there, sir. Yeah.
Yes. Fine, sir. Fine, sir. Very good morning to all of you, sir. Very happy to see you today. And on behalf of Manage, I welcome all the panel members and all the participants for this webinar. And most of the entrepreneurs, those who are startups are attending here this webinar, they know importance of today's topic. It may be one of the most important one, pitching to the panel members and also writing DPR and also reaching funders like banks and other investment partners when they are reaching. It very crucial and very tiresome and also sometimes very challenging. For example, whole 6 months or 1 year, they will be preparing some startup or some idea. Normally, they will get 5 minutes or 10 minutes to pitch their idea to the panel members. And the 10 minutes makes a lot of difference, even though they might be having 1 year, 2 years of work or 6 months of work or 3 months, whatever it may be. But the 10 minutes, it makes a lot of crucial when talking to the panel members for funding or selection or grants, whatever it may be. And that's why pitching always, it is art. Somebody will come with very basic, very ordinary innovation, but the way they pitch, the way they talk, that makes a lot of difference. Sometimes it is not only idea makes a lot of difference. Maybe the way they make their passion, they will express the enthusiastically how they're really involved with the project. And the confidence they show about their own idea and the enterprise, that also makes a lot of difference compared to other business plans, market segmentation, or so many things they will do. But even technology or living, the way they communicate to the panel members and the way they answer, the way they do pre-research for that particular topic, that makes a lot of difference. That's why today this very important webinar, and also DPR preparation. It makes even whether it is banker or investors or angel investors, they have their own criteria to get funding. It may not, each institution sometimes slightly different type of preparation it needs. It is all, they may not, somebody looks for something. Some of the grants look for social angle, social enterprise angle, somebody, how they are helping the community. Bankers, they look for how really it is feasible or what it will be, how it is implemented or practically it is possible or what like that. And investors generally, they look for whether really investing this particular startup or agribusiness, whether we can make the big business like that. They look for marketing angle like that. Each type of presentations, each type of project report to whom we are writing, whether it is DPR to bank or the some institutions or academic institutions, those who are providing grants or supporting ministries, or this all makes a lot of difference. That's why it is not the same, and it may slightly tweak your presentation or DPRs. That's why I wish today's presentation going to be very crucial for those who are aspiring to be the entrepreneurs, and also they want to pitch for the some grants or equity or whatever funding from some agencies. And I hope today's webinar going to be very much useful. And after webinar also, entire proceedings we will keep in the online so that others also can go through these videos and they can get much more ideas. And I wish all the participants for great interaction, and you can put your all the questions, all the doubts. Maybe this is one of the crucial one and very different combination. Banker to other entrepreneurs are there. They may be different angles they may give. That's why kindly put all your questions, other things in the chat box, and we will take forward. And thank you very much once again for all the panel members, and we look forward to hear from you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your insights. That would be helpful for the startups, upcoming budding entrepreneurs. And we welcome the speakers today. And we've got, as sir said, we have got different set of speakers. So the first speaker is Mr. Anil Shankar Varanasi, who is founder and advisor of MapPro Consulting. He's been part of his chartered accounting thing since inception. Like he started with a BCom degree at Acharya Nagarjuna University and got into this Institute of Chartered Accountants of India as a chartered accountant from that, and also got into a couple of corporate experiences. And right now he's working as a founder and advisor for MapPro. Request Mr. Anil Shankar Varanasi to start a session. Thank you.
Thanks, Kaushik. Thanks for the great intro. So, good morning to all of you. So, to all the audience members and to all the panelists also. So, firstly, I'd like to share a PPT. Is it possible to share a PPT, Kaushik, in this? Kaushik, your voice is not audible.
Am I audible, sir? Yeah.
Yeah, now you're audible.
Yeah. So I've shared you the presenter thing, sir. If not, I can share it from my side.
Yeah, fine. I'll just share it from my end.
Okay, sir. Shall I share it from my side, sir? Any issue regarding the PPT?
Yeah, please. Yeah, it's regarding the.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So, today I'm going to discuss about the startup pitching for the funding. So there are different ways of to raise up the funding, and even if possible, I'll ideally show a DPO preparation also, if possible, if the time permits also. So.
So we lost you, sir.
Why are in the technology or venturing into any other aspects, maybe on the joint development or some other sector. For that case, Kaushik, if possible, can you scroll it down to the second slide?
Yes, sir. Sorry, you weren't audible initially, so the voice is breaking.
Okay, now it's audible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So the main reason of raising the pitch. So whenever before you go to any investor to raise the funds, so have a clarity of why are we raising it. So what purpose and what is your cash burn you're going to have, and you should be very much familiar with the terminologies like what is the annual recurring revenue or what is your total market which you have. They call it in the startup world as SAM, TAM. So SAM is nothing but service variable market. Okay, make sure you pitch your whatever your pitch deck, whatever preparing is very, very sharp and clean cut. Nothing plus or minus. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. So I would recommend everybody to have at least 15 to 20 slides in your pitch deck. Okay, it should address what is your company overall view, what is the problem what is the current problem, and how are you going to give a solution for that, and what is your product in that, what's the technological edge speaking about it, and what is the real-time market size of it, and what is the business model you're trying to capture the market. So each of these are the slides like which I have mentioned. If you can see over there, company overview, the problem, the solution, product, market size, what's the business model, and what's the technology involved, and who are your competitors involved, and how do you differentiate from your competitors. So it should not be 10x, it should be at least a lot of differentiation. So people, whenever they say that you're 10% differentiate or 20% differentiate, you should differentiate from themselves at least by 100 and 200% by your competitors, especially in the startup world. That's how the investors would be ready to infuse their money to your startup world. And what's your marketing plan? How unique, how different it's from the others. Okay, and what's your team? Proudly present your team. Who is the chief head of technical guy? Who's chief marketer? And what are your tractions and milestones? And later on, how does your financials speak, and what are the achievements that you have in your financials? And the last side, always keep it, if possible, the ask question. What you're asking for the investors, how much you're asking for it, whether it may be safe instrument, or whether it may be debt or equity. How much are you willing to ask, and what is the valuation, and how much dilution are you going to give? So you should get familiar with all the terminologies before you pitch to the investors. So step by step, I'll be taking one of the notable terms in the startup world very much, where every investor would like to ask you and would like to pitch for that. Okay. Yeah, you can proceed to the next slide. Question. And one more thing is, always ensure that your pitch deck is only consisting of 15 to 20 slides, and always practice for it, and make sure it comes only 10 minutes. 10 to 12 minutes. That's it. That is your best time for pitching any investor. Okay. So key terminologies you should always be keeping at your edges. What is TAM? TAM is the short word which they use in the startup world, which they call it as total addressable market. What is the market you're going to address on your product or your service, regardless of the competition in the market? That's known as a TAM. That's the short form which they use it. Okay. The next thing is serviceable. Next thing they call it as SAM. That is a subset of TAM. Subset of TAM is that portion of market you can 100% acquire for it. Okay. Then the next thing they call it as service obtainable market. This is a subset of the SAM which you'll realistically get to use your product. So there's a difference for it. For example, there is a phone market. Okay. So the entire phone market may be 2 billion people. Okay. Then out of that, the service available market only for Android will be 1 billion people. Then how much you can obtain from it? Maybe 100 million. So it's very clear. It should be very precise while you're addressing. These are the key questions where the investors would ask the founders. So what is your TAM or SAM or SOM? How are you going to get into the service obtainable market? What is the strategy to obtain each of your customer? And how are you going to get monthly recurring revenue and based on that? So make sure these are one of the terminologies which should be kept in mind. You can go to the next slide there. Yeah. So here I want to explain. So equity, all of you must be aware of it. Equity is something where the investors directly infuse the money into the company with a dilution. For example, let's say I have 10 lakhs of rupees as equity capital, and I'm asking for a fund of 5 lakh rupees. And for 5 lakhs, the dilution is maybe 10%, which I'm going to give him. Then the valuation will change accordingly. The value of the company will be 50 lakhs, and automatically that is they're directly infusing into the capital. They're directly infusing the capital into the company. Whereas in the market, there's something called safe instrument and a convertible note. Okay, safe instrument is nothing but where the investor pumps in the money into your account, into the company account. Okay, he won't sign up for anything over there. He will tell one or two things, that either he's going to keep a cap on valuation and discount rate. For example, I'll tell you an example of this. For example, I invest in a company of 5 lakhs. I'll tell him, you use this money and based on the future valuation, give me the percentage for this 5 lakh rupees. Okay. So what I'll say is as time goes on, the company value turns out to be maybe 80 lakhs. Okay. So I will tell in the agreement itself, when I'm infusing money of 5 lakhs, I'll tell whenever you're valuing into the next future raising of funds, kindly request to give a 20% discount on it. So 20% discount is 16 lakhs. So the total value of the company will be 66 lakhs and 5 lakhs will be my share, and 5 lakhs by 66 is what percentage I'm going to get. That is what I'm going to call discount rate. That is called discount rate on the valuation. Certain times, certain investors will say that whatever you're raising it, let it be 80 lakhs or 1 crore or 1.2, 1.3, the next future valuation, but I want the valuation to be 70 lakhs. So out of 70, I'll get my percentage, proportionate percentage for it. That is what is called cap on valuation. So, whenever you go and negotiate with the investors, be very careful of what they're requesting and what they're asking for. So here discount rate cap is very important in safe instrument and convertible notes. So convertible notes is also a similar type of safe instrument. In convertible note, it's a form of a debt where they invest and later on they get converted into equity. But here in convertible debt, the investor will get interest on it. Later on, if he likes it, he'll convert it into equity. That is the difference between the convertible note and safe instrument. In safe instrument, no interest. Whereas in convertible note, it's like a debt only. So they call it also equity. It's in the form of a debt. In the future period, they convert it to equity. And in both the safe instrument and convertible note, investor would ask, they put up two terminologies, cap or discount rate, either of it. So be very careful while you're putting your cap or discount rate with investors. Ensure you have proper legal team and proper accounting team who are well expertised to understand these terminologies while you're entering with them. So I hope this is clear, the safe instrument, cap, discount rate and convertible note. Any doubts, please push up for that. Okay. You can go to the next slide. Kaushik, you can go to the next slide. Hello, Kaushik, you can go to the next slide.
Yes, yes, sir. Kept it the next slide, sir. Is it visible? It's like various level of funding.
Yeah, fine. Yeah.
Yes.
So the various level of no, before that, there's one more slide. I think dilution movement. Can you go for that? Previous slide of this. Yeah. So this is the dilution movement. You should understand. So every founder should have a clean cut picture of what percentage they are diluting every time. Okay. So first of all, when the for example, let's say a startup has been started by two founders, they might be holding 100%. Later on, they may give it to their own friends and families. Then their dilution will be 10% and the founders will be holding 45. That will be 90%. Later on, as an ESOP pool, they might be giving another 10% as a dilution. Then their percentage will go to contrasting to 80%. In similar way, as it goes on, so their friends and families, ESOPs will be there, then angel investors will come in, then the venture capitalists will enter, then IPO will happen, accelerators will come in, incubators will come in. So you should be very careful how much you are diluting. Each of them have their each clauses. So for example, one venture capitalist will say that whatever share he is getting is anti-dilutive. So what does it mean by anti-dilutive? Anti-dilutive means, for example, let's say he infuses some 1 crore amount of money for 5%. Okay. And he says in the agreement that this 5% is anti-dilutive, that he is not going to further sacrifice his share of 5% on further raising of any funds. He is going to have a constant 5%. Whereas all other investors, all other shareholders will dilute their shares while raising the funds. So you should be very careful. So anti-dilutive is a very crucial term where few of the investors use it. Okay. So there is something called dilutive and anti-dilutive. So dilutive where every investor is ready to dilute for raising funds. Anti-dilutive is maybe one or two investors would say, or one or two shareholders would say, they are not going to further dilute on raising the funds. So that is where the founders should be very careful what is the terminologies of dilutive and anti-dilutives. Okay, I hope it's clear, and we can go for the next slide. For that, I hope it's audible to all. I hope there is no discrepancies in the sound. Yeah, Kaushik, you can go to the next slide. Hello.
I've lost your voice, sir. Maybe my internet connection was gone. Maybe.
Okay, now it's
Okay,
audible.
sir.
Yeah.
Now all good. You can go to the next slide.
Yeah. Various
next
level of
slide.
funding.
Yeah. So the various levels of funding are, first it's called seed funding. Okay. Seed funding is where you raise it with your family members. They call it friends of families or friends of friends, where you raise it with them, or through incubators, few small incubators or accelerators. Okay. Then comes the angel funding. Angel funding and accelerator funding are two similar kind of things, where few angel investors who are registered with SEBI, they will invest or pump in money to your startup. Okay. So whereas these investors should have a minimum net worth of at least 2 crores, and they should give the balance sheet and P&L to SEBI also. So these are known as angel investors. So there are few accelerators in the market also which infuse money into your startup. This is called angel and accelerator funding. So as and when we move on to the scale from seed to angel, angel to accelerator or series, you see the valuation of the company grows up. And the reason being, we are asking for a higher number of funds so that a company can last longer, can have higher cash burn for higher months. So for example, I may ask, let's say I have a startup and I may ask the company 50 lakhs. Okay. My 50 lakhs, my cash burn will be maybe 18 months or 20 months. Okay. That's where the funding is going to play a role. So then after that, again, I need to raise a fund. And before I achieve that milestone, so 50 lakhs is what, so if I'm asking for 50 lakhs, I need to show the investors what are the milestones I'm going to achieve by it. How many customers I'm going to get, how much recurring revenue I'm going to get, how much I'm going to expand, and what are the different levels we're going to target, and how it's going to change the consumer behavior. That's more important in each level of the fund. Okay, so then there is a series funding. Series funding where the valuation will range between 100 and 150 crores. Then venture capitalist funding. Venture capitalist funding, the biggest funders, where they invest about 100 million or 50 million dollars, or like you can say 450 crores or 350 crores in that way, where they are funded by one of the largest equity funds in the world. Like they may be private funds from Canada or USA. They are funded by them, and these, like Sequoia Capital is one of the examples, and these funded startups, and they later on go to IPO stage. So like one of the things as Zomato is planning for an IPO, so it has gone through all these phases. It has gone through seed, angel, series, venture capitalist, and IPO. So at the end stage, whenever a founder is reaching even to the IPO or venture capitalist fund, his share part, the founder share part, eventually gets diluted to somewhere around 10 to 15%. Even when Paytm, even Zomato is planning for the funding, you can see that investor, the founder himself, is hardly having somewhere between 8 to 15%. So, but the value which is holding 15% at the time of venture capitalist fund will be around few millions of dollars. Will be like maybe around 20 millions of dollars also for 15%. So this is how each of every company works. Even like Uber also, or even you can say carry for any other company which is there in the funding market, which is there in the startup world, the percentage of dilution will be heavy and the market will be, the value will be very high. The only reason being the value of the company is increasing and the revenue is increasing and they're able to tap the market. Tapping the market is more important, and having a monthly recurring revenue is very important for the startups. So they see various metrics. On what metrics are we going by? Okay. Kaushik, you can go proceed for the next slide. So, as I conversed with all of you, so this is how the scale goes up. This is the time and this is the revenue. So, this is the way the seed capital, venture capitalist, acquisitions happen, mergers happen. strategic analysis happen. Then there's a public market. When it goes to the IPO, even you may also get bought by another company. Also, there may be a merger for that. So the time and the revenue is always directly proportional together. So always be careful. So what you're targeting, and it's very important to know the terminologies of everything, like what is a seed, angel, venture capitalist, and how does the acquisition happen? Why does the merger happen? So what are the strategic alliances? Why is it we're going for one investor to another investor? So always try to get a term sheet. So whenever you're going for an investors, you might go to multiple investors. So make sure the term sheet is a sheet what the investor would give you, like how much they're ready to infuse into your company. So that is where you should be very careful. How much they're going to infuse and what are their favorable terms and conditions, and how much they're going to offer to the founders also. So how much they're going to give to the employees. ESOP is also important for them. Okay. So this is a cycle which is very crucial for every startup. Every startup founder should have a lot of patience, and it really pays off well. And you need to read, just like as a virus is mutating, just like as COVID virus is mutating, I feel the founders should mutate themselves to live in the market and to survive in the market and to raise up at a different level. We can go to the next slide. Yeah. Yeah. So firstly, so while you're pitching to investors, so I have written few do's and do nots. Be careful with them. Okay. So do spend some time to understand who is your real-time audience over there. Whether how much of them are technically, technologically educated, and how much of them are financially educated. So how much of them are in the real time in the startup world. Okay. So that would make a lot of difference on your presenting. Okay. And do make it very authentic conversation. Authentic conversation means don't by heart and say it off. It should stay very natural. It should be, it should be very easy to understand. It should not be something a robotic word. It should be very, just like commonly how we speak to each other, friends. The same way, your presentation be in a similar way to the investors. And do come prepared means always practice the pitch, whatever pitch deck you have, practice it rigorously. Make sure that pitch deck comes to 10 to 12 minutes or 15 minutes of maximum. And don't stick to your script, as I told you previously also. And don't push too hard, like you're pitching it. See your terms and see their terms. If you go and begging for them, it's not going to work. So just be what you are and just be confident of yourself and tell them what you're expecting from them. Be clear with the plans. If, the questions which startup investors would ask is, what is the exit plan? So when they ask for the exit plan, so you can elaborate of your mission and vision and how big you're going to become. So that's a test point for you, because exit plan, nobody can define an exit plan at in the ground level 0 or ground level 1. So be careful of what you're answering also. That also makes a lot of difference, because every investor who is investing wants to ensure that the company expands globally and expands all across India and pan-India or in the world. That's how the investor's mentality is. And do practice repeatedly before you present. Okay, this is what I have, and I would like to show, if possible, if time permits, I would like to show a financial deck, if possible. Kaushik, is it possible? Can I show a financial deck from here?
Yes, sir. I'll give you the presenter right, sir.
Oh, it's not opening, I think.
Now you can see, sir, the share button will be there on the middle of the screen, sir, bottom middle.
Okay, 1 minute. Yeah, shall I press the screen 1 or which one shall I do?
When you click on share screen, sir. Screen 1 is okay, sir. Yeah, it's just opening the phone. So I hope it's visible to all. Kaushik, it's visible? Yes, sir, it is visible, sir.
So here, so we prepare financial decks to startups also which are raising funds. So in this ideal startup, we have prepared a valuation under 3 methods. Those are DCF, First Chicago, and Berkers method. So the different ways of preparation for it. So we have ideally prepared one of the best methods in the world, which are running a DCF, First Chicago, and Berkers method. So every startup, the investors would ask for the projections for 3 years, month on month wise. I hope month on month wise. So you should show them clearly how you're planning to raise up and what's your cash burn and what your funds you're expecting. So here we have showed in the, if you see our profit and loss account, this is a profit and loss account where this is a service sector in the service industry. So where we have showed how many users per client we would be having average number of clients per in the first month. That's in the month 4. In the first year, we have started in the month 4. We are having a 16 clients. We have slowly raised up, and in the similarly we have shown it in the terms of revenue also. How many users per client? Like for example, the client has a sub user. That's where it comes 640 users, and each subscription I'll get a revenue of client 6 lakhs 40, and we're giving a commission of 3 lakhs 84 to each of them, and how much my company is going to get 2 lakhs 56,000. So this is how we have prepared in detailed for a startup which is how much they're incurring monthly cost for 36 months. We have shown and how much cash burn are they going to have every month. So this is the PBT which we're showing it. So PBDIT also we are showing. PBDIT is nothing but profit before depreciation, interest, and tax. So ideally, this will be plus or minus. This is the cash burn we are going to have every month. Like this, cumulatively later on, it will be having a cash positive. So 4 lakhs 47 from the month 16 from the second year onwards. So previously they have incurred a lot of cash burn, maybe in development of product, cost, and other things also for that. So this should always capture, you should always ensure your costs are very meticulously, I mean not be meticulously, but at least be with a variation of 20%. How much would you spend on your salaries, your commission, on your professional services, marketing? All that should be very explanatory. Like for example, here I've said 4th month, maybe 3,40,000 I'll be spending on my marketing. So, even if the investors ask, ensure it is it's having a very sound and a ground explanations for that, so that even investor could understand, okay, this is really if a true point to get on it. Okay. So this is one of the ideal point. This is of the profit and loss account which I'm showing you for 36 months which we prepared for, and later on we have added up the 4th year and 5th year on a whole and how much they're going to make it up. So here is a cash burn we are going to show. We have showed also cash burn also. Cash burn is nothing but how much we are going to have negative cash balance, how much we're going to lose cash or here. So here, let's say we are having a profit, positive cash balance due to infusion of capital. Then again, net cash balance is negative. Here again, it's negative. So all this is very important for you while putting cash burn is nothing but how much are you receiving from the customers, how much every month, towards where it is going. You should be clearly, elaboratively explain over here, and from the form of in the table as we have shown up. I mean, it's been very successful for us. We were able to raise funds for them. So that is the ideology which I would like to give to all of you. So here we also gave expenditure also, how much, so for in the part of salaries, whom we are going to hire, how much we are going to hire. This part we have shared with them also. They've been very happy, very clear also. And what are the, and important point is, what are the assumptions have you made in this financial deck? The tax you have taken, increase in turnover, how much varies, phase-wise investment of capital, and the following costs, whichever is there in intangible asset as an R&D. So I'll show you the balance sheet also. So here we have started with 33 lakhs and we have rose to around 2.7 crores. 2.7 crores is what we have raised into. That's what we have told them to invest in phase-wise to in our company, which we could do it up. So this is the intangible assets which going into the product development, like it may be web, internet development, or website development, or any intangible development, or any asset. For example, in a product, it may be patent also. There may be expenditure incurred in a product development cost, maybe to develop a certain product, it may take months or years also. That's how the intangible assets come in picture. So how you're going to determine your Sunny data? Sunny data is, so what is the percentage of customers you're going to, I mean, why it's coming 48 lakh, in 4 crore 82 lakhs per year. It's like maybe you're giving every 1 month is going to be data for you. 1 month of a sale will be data for you. So you should be very clear in your metrics. Okay. Then if you're once clear in all these points, will come under the valuation point. So these are the valuations. Each valuation of each methodology. So DCF is one of the famous methodologies in India and globally also. It's not bad. So the same way it comes to the first Chicago method, this is called the first Chicago method, which is used mostly in US, and this Dirkers also used mostly in the States and European countries for the valuation part, whereas even Sequoia Capital is asking for all these points. So this is a financial deck which investor would pitch you to ask. After you give your pitch deck, the second big thing is going to come is where is your financial deck? So here the valuation of our company comes around 100 crores, 100 crores, 83 lakhs. And the same way for the VCF method, it comes to 111 crores, 114 crores. And the Berkers, it comes to 118 crores. So each valuation has its figure. So, you know, it should be very logical enough, whatever valuation you're going to give, and should consist logically a link between all the sheets. That's what is going to make a sense for you. Either for equity or you're going for convertible or safe. This is how the valuation is going to play a crucial role. So, Kaushik, still I have time? Hello?
We can go to the second speaker, sir, because
Okay, fine. Yeah, then fine, I'll stop it.
Yes.
Thanks to all of you. I hope if you have any doubts, please push it up in the questions. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Anil, sir, for taking us through your various levels of funding, also regarding the financial data you have showed us. And we shall go for the next speaker, Mr. Abhishek Sankrit, who is also part of the incubation team. Incubation program, who is a part of SAIP 3. So he's done his, he's been a tourism entrepreneur as 12 years. He's also been got the graduate degree in the political science and history. Also got a couple of other certifications from Stanford University and University of Illinois, Technical University of Munich. So he's the founder of Sankrit Ajay Agriculture and Technology Private Limited. I request Mr. Abhishek Sankrit to start his session.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much to manage Saravanan sir and all the panelists and all the attendees. I'll just share my presentation. Give me a second. So my screen is visible to all?
Yes, sir, it is visible, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. So the today's topic is startup pitching for funding and DPR preparation. In the same line as Kaushik ji have already given my introduction, I would like to thank him for that. This is me, Abhishek Sankrit. And this is about our organization, Sankrit Ajay Agriculture and Technology Private Limited. We are recognized and licensed by Startup India, MSME, FSSAI Startup in UP. We are currently based in Varanasi in UP. We are currently dealing in the segment of post-harvest value addition and supply chain. Our trademark, we have registered our trademark while I was in SAIP 3 program with Manage. So Agro to Plate is our registered brand. Our organization's mission is, every house healthy and hygienic food. Our vision is network of quality, cost-effective, and efficient value chain. Pooja Singh and me, Abhishek Sankrit, we two are founder of this organization. The major beneficiary from our organization are consumer, because they get healthy and hygienic food. Hence, they can eliminate a lot of liver disease and other issues. Farmers are another major beneficiary from our project because they can save starting with 50% on their revenue. Because we are able to cut down their cost on transportation, we are able to cut down their post-harvest loss, as we are right away taking their product at the time when they are picking the product from the ground. And also we are saving their money on the middleman commission. So by this three way, from the day one, they are able to save at least 50% on the revenue side as well. The third most beneficiary, the most beneficiaries are hawkers and thelawalas. We are trying to connect them with a professional network. FSSAI have a policy of clean market, and FSSAI launched that in 2020. On the same page, we are trying to help them become more hygienic, more and deliver healthy product. At the same time, we are helping them through professional network, so they can improve their quality of life. At the same time, they can save their time and energy. So they are beneficiary from our organization. As you can see, and as it was already informed by Kaushik ji, we were part of SAIP3 program, and Manage have helped us understanding a basic phenomena, and using that, we are able to utilize it in our operations and all the part. Even while applying for a loan, that was very helpful. So I would recommend those who have already done these courses. That's very good. Otherwise, those who have not done, and if they are eligible, they can join such courses. It will be very helpful for you in long run. If get a grant or not, that's another subject, but knowledge is always helpful for you. I would like to thank State Bank of India because without them or without their trust in us, it was very difficult for us to raise a fund. So State Bank have very generously shown faith in us, and we'll speak about how that happened in later phase. And we would like to thank PMEGP KVIC for helping us with a certain subsidy that is definitely going to take out our about 30 to 35% risk. That is a big thing for a startup like us. Now, moving ahead, we'll talk about source of funding. Already previous panelists have already spoke about many technical aspects of the funding. I would, as an entrepreneur, I would more be talking about practical aspect of it. And I will speak in a language which entrepreneur understand. Most of the time, we are very weak in terms of technical. So I will speak about the experience that I have gone through it. So for me, when I started, we started this organization, we were self-funding it. So we were bootstrapping. We checked our idea based on our self-funding. We checked our MVP and traction using our own funds. And usually, any startup, when we see the data, most of them are doing the same thing. But there are certain fortunate startup as well who can even check their data. Even they can validate their ideas using a government grant as well. There is a grant under AOP of RKBI Raftar, which Manage and other organizations are already conducting. People can join and even use that fund to check their idea. Next option is grant. So grant usually, as I said, there are different government schemes like AOP, in which you can even validate your idea using that scheme if you are eligible. And then there, if you already have your MVP, then again, Startup India and many different organizations conduct different programs, even manage, conduct SAIP program. I was part of it. So in this program, you have a chance to even get a funding up to 25 lakh rupees as a grant, which you don't have to return back to government. That can help you in accelerating your business. So that is one of best way I can say. And most of the startup look for this kind of things. Most of the startup go, after the grant, most of them jump for investors, wherein I have mentioned bank here, bank loan or partner bank. I'll explain why I have mentioned that. When we talk about investment, if you don't get grant or if you're looking for other options, you have option to go for investor. But if you do some research and find out the data, the number of startups that get seed funding or angel or get funding from venture capitalists is far less in compared to getting a loan. Getting a loan seems to be much easier than getting a funding from investor. That is one aspect of it. The second aspect, when you have very low valuation, and if you go to investors, you will be getting a fund where you have to compromise with a bigger share. Wherein, if you already have a much better valuation of your company, and then if you go to investor, then you can negotiate in much better terms. You can get better valuation for your stakes. So as according to that, I believe bank loan is much better. Yes, there are challenges for everything. And I'll speak about the challenges and other aspect of it in our next slide. So when we talk about bank loan, while we are approaching to bank, first we have to have certain understanding. I'll explain you, the challenges I faced. I have been to 8 banks, and State Bank of India, I have been thrice to them, and this was the 3rd time when they approved me. 2 times they have rejected me. So I'm glad that I have been to so many banks, but I was doing different mistakes while I was approaching to bank, and I'm sharing that so my colleagues, startup, and other attendees should understand that those mistakes have to be eliminated, or you have to avoid those mistakes if you want bank to become your partner, or if you want loan. Otherwise, it's very difficult. So the understanding that are, when you are approaching to bank, you have to have clear and deep understanding of your startup, because bank will ask you n number of questions, and without making them happy with your answers, you can't get loan. I'll talk about policy, government policy, and other aspect as well, because being a startup, we always complain that government have a policy of no collateral, CGT, MSC, and all different things, but we end up with not receiving loan. Why? Because we are somewhere responsible for that, and we keep, I visited 8 banks, and we keep on making them responsible, wherein if we follow certain things, I don't think it is impossible to get loan. You will be able to get that loan. And the next aspect, when you have clear understanding, please make sure that you are not going to bank when you are in ideation phase, because bank will not give fund just to your idea. It's hardly, while speaking to different bank managers, visiting to different banks, I have understood that they are not going, there are very less chances that they will give fund for just having an idea. Otherwise, they give a fund to organization which have already checked MVP, and they have done traction for their product, and they have certain proven data and documentation for that. If you have those records, then you have something to put in front of your bank. Otherwise, it is very difficult to, satisfy their questions. Now, the next point is, when we are reaching to bank, we have to understand risk and incentive involved for both parties. What we do, we try to just understand our side of the only of the coin, but we do not understand the side of bank. So that become a bigger gap between bank and us. So let's understand the risk and incentive for both the parties, and then you will be understanding how to satisfy bank. So for a startup like me, the biggest risk is I have to be profit centering from day one. I'm not saying that if you get investment or if you get a grant, you will not be profit centric. But still, you have a chances where at that point of time where you can focus on valuation, you can focus on much on branding than much on profit. But if you are taking a loan with bank, you have to understand you can't just talk about that our valuation will be so much in coming years. You have to talk what you're going to do from day one, because bank is interested in that. Bank want their EMI to be paid on time. So please be when you reach to your bank, please be very authentic in telling them what you are going to do from day one to pay their EMI. Now, next thing is collateral and or CIBIL record on estate. As a startup, if you are getting a no collateral loan under CGT MSE, then if you are not able to pay the loan because of certain reason, your CIBIL will be screwed up. You will have a negative CIBIL, and in future getting any kind of loan is going to be very difficult. That's your risk. That's our risk being a startup. And if you are putting some collateral, again, the collateral is on risk. Now, next, we pay certain margin money. Sometimes we pay 25%, sometimes 15%, sometimes 5% also. So whatever margin we are putting, that margin is also on the risk from our side. Now, the incentive what we get while dealing with bank, the best incentive that we are getting is 100% ownership is with us post loan payment. Once we pay off the loan, we have our 100% ownership. So no share is there with no other person. And now if you go to investor, you have a good valuation of your organization. You can have a better investment. That is one way of thinking it. But when we now let's move to the bank aspect. When we talk about bank, see, bank is giving you a public fund. So public fund is at risk, and they are responsible. They are answerable to government for that, to RBI and other bodies. So they have to think a lot. Yes, government definitely makes a policy that banks can give it, but even though they make a policy, they do not give any exception to the bank in their responsibility or answerability. The second aspect, it's a personal aspect. Bank does not run on the automation system. That we have to understand. The human is involved in all the process. So the credit manager, risk manager, or the branch managers are human beings. Now, when they are approving your loan, their carrier credit is on risk. See, the things which I'm telling you, maybe it's not in the book in different places, but I'm telling you based on my experience, based on my conversation with managers and with other people as well in the system. So if your loan, if you are not able to pay back the loan, and in case it is a collateral free, if it is with collateral, then they are relaxed a little bit, because there will be less pointed out for that, because bank have a guarantee. But if it is collateral free, CGT MSE policy is there, but bank do not get 100%. There is only certain percentage like 75%, and then even in the interest part, they lose certain amount, and then there are a long process for bank. So CGT MSE is neither easy for bank as well. So these managers who are approving your loan, they are questioned by their authority. And in board of public banks, there are government officers also. They question them that why loans are not coming. There are different kind of things goes on their face value. So this kind of risk is there on this human being who is sitting there. So just try to understand, if we are in the job, are we going to take risk for some other person? Of course, we don't take risk for other person on our career. We don't take it, but they have to take it to approve you. So what exactly they do is they try to clear as much as possible from you. So please have patience with them and try to understand their view. Now, being a startup, we are very much unverified project. We do not have last 3 years balance sheet or any verified data. I mean, traction is a short-term things, but we do not have a verified aspect. So bank is taking a higher risk. There are equal chances of profit and loss, and sometimes more chances of loss to the bank. And as an incentive, what bank is getting? A basic interest they receive as an incentive. Just try to understand, we are getting our 100% share and bank is getting a basic incentive. They cannot charge you higher interest. There are certain policy, they have to charge certain interest only to you or to us as a startup. So on that small incentive, bank have to take the maximum risk. Maximum risk means their 90%, sometimes 80% fund is at risk. And ours is 10% on risk. So obviously bank is a partner which is taking bigger risk. So they will have a bigger questions and they want to verify as much as possible, and they have all the rights to reject our loan. So how to get those loans? Now the question is that. Now, first thing, we have to change our psychology and mentality. When I was visiting bank, I was just thinking, government have a policy, why I won't get loan. We have to get rid of this thing. Policy is one thing and practicality is other thing. When you consider the bank as a partner, then you can understand their pain and you can explain your pain to them. That is one thing. Now, the other aspect, you have to prepare yourself and document as per understanding that I have explained in previous slide. Associate yourself with courses, certification with reputed institutions that are aligned with your work. Why I'm saying certification and courses? If you are going to investor, they verify what you are saying. But when you are going to bank, banks work in more traditional way. So papers work a lot of time for them. If you have certain certification and courses, and not only for bank, it works for us as well. Let's say I have done SAIP course. I have done certain course from international universities. These have helped me understanding my project in much better way, and using these things, I will be able to make sure that I'm moving on the perfect path. So doing the courses, always gathering a knowledge always helps us in longer run. So please do the courses to clear your understanding. That's my suggestion. The next point, do research, training, test your MVP through traction. As I have already said earlier, research is very important. Training yourself and testing your MVP is very important, because the kind of question bank is going to ask you, you cannot reply without having these things. or without doing your research, test, and traction. It won't be, almost next to impossible, because in next coming slides, I will explain how it works and what kind of questions bank can ask you, very deep questions. Now, documents, I have mentioned, document your mistakes, learning from it, and decision taken to improve it. See, while we are checking our traction, we do not come to the perfect path on day one. We do certain mistakes, and we realize that doing by this mistake, we are going to lose certain fund, and we lose it as well. And then we learn from it, and we improve that by taking certain decisions. What we do is, once we improve it, we don't document it exactly how it happened. It is very necessary to document it, because bank want to know, or any other investor would like to know, the risk involved with your project. And by telling this thing, you will be able to take them in confidence. See, when we do anything, there are risks that we can go wrong into certain aspect. And if you are using bank loan to practice that certain wrongs, bank is at higher risk. But when you tell them that these are mistakes I have already done, what we do, we hide our mistakes. And when we hide our mistake, bank consider them at higher risk. So don't hide it. Once you have documented those things, present it in front of the bank and tell them, okay, I have already done these mistakes. I have learned from it, and I have took these decisions to improve it. I have learned certain amount, I have lost certain amount from my personal funds. Now, as I have already lost this, I'm not going to use the bank fund, or bank fund will not be used to lose in those aspects. So we have already moved towards perfection in this aspect. So bank will be having more confidence in you. Bank will be then start analyzing their risk little bit lower by knowing all these kind of aspects. The next point, find out what you will lose if not successful. If your project is not successful after taking loan, what you are gonna lose, that you have to find out and document it to proportionate the loss to your banking partner. You have to, explain your banking partner, your bank, that see, not only you are going to lose 90 to 80% of your money if I don't succeed. I'm going to lose, okay, 10% of my margin or 20% of my margin, but because I have a caliber, let's say you are a doctor, you are an engineer, or you are a professor, or XYZ. If you are focusing your 100% time, obviously you would have earned that money somewhere else as well. So that is, you are putting on a stake, you are going to lose it, which often we don't tell to the banks. So when you tell these things to your bank that, okay, 40,000, 50,000 a month, at least I'm going to lose it by, if my project is not going to be successful, then also I'm taking this step, then bank understand your seriousness. You have to prove your seriousness. And by knowing this aspect, bank understand, okay, you are serious, you are losing certain things. Not only bank is losing, so they can further move on your application. So these things are very important and practical things, because I have gone through all these things. Now, once you have prepared all these things, it comes to DPR preparation. Previous panelist, as a professional, he have already explained different aspect of DPR. But there are two aspects when you prepare DPR. One is technical aspect, other is non-technical aspect. I will explain you what things are more important when you are preparing your DPR. See, when you have already checked your traction, based on your traction, finalize your product purchase cost and sales cost. So whatever raw cost of your product is there, or purchase cost of your product is there, And sales cost. When you show to your bank a financial statement prepared by CA, because I mean, we don't know all the technical aspects. So obviously we have to take the help of professional to prepare. But those figures should not be the CA's figure. It should be our own figure, because when we give them our figure based on traction, we have a say in front of the bank. We can explain them, and I will show how I have explained them. I'll once I complete this, I'll show you certain examples. And direct and indirect expenses. A lot of time we put very less expenses to divert bank's mind, and we try to make them think that our expenses going to be very less. But you cannot go with unrealistic things. You have to give them the expenses based on the research and traction trial you have done. Otherwise, they will not accept whatever just CA have given in the paper. So please be ready with this basic information. And once you are ready with this basic information, please visit your professional and CA, professional or CA, to prepare your DPR on the technical terms. Now, you should have clarity on non-technical, as I have already mentioned, because those questions, when you are in interview with bank is not going to talk to your CA. Please be very clear. They will talk to you, and if you are not clear about non-technical aspects, again, it will be an unsuccessful attempt. So, and point, be ready to reply even most question that is asked by loaning authority. Sometimes you will be asked, the question that you can see, but it's not really actually. A major risk partner, it's their right to ask the silliest question. So it's ready hierarchy as well if you are not heard respectfully. I have mentioned the word hierarchy and respectfully. The reason I have mentioned, because this, there are many cities in India which know what is a startup very well, and the banking systems are well aware of these terms. Hyderabad, Bangalore, Mumbai, Delhi, and many other cities, where startup terms is very much clear to the bankers. But when you come to the cities like Varanasi, when you go to smaller cities, bankers even do not have clarity on startup policies of government. So sometimes, when you approach to branch manager, there are the chances he can right away very irresponsibly, very irrespectfully decline you that no, we are not doing it. But that does not mean that bank does not. He is a person, not a bank. So you have to approach hierarchy. Many times, we start diverting our focus towards the government bodies. I have done so many mistakes in this. Instead of that, please follow hierarchy. Go to the AGM of that manager, talk to him. He may have the knowledge, being a senior authority. Explain your project. He will try to understand. If he is not understanding, go to DGM. And no officer can decline to meet you. Note that. Because we have been to all the authorities. In different banks, we were unsuccessful, but after 2 decline, we visited DGM of State Bank of India, and very respectfully, I can say he have always provided us time whenever we have been. And even the other authorities of the bank have heard us very nicely. But sometimes, you need someone to tell you that Abhishek or that, XYZ, you are doing this mistake in communicating your thing. See what we do. I'll tell you one story. And this story is about every house. And this is related to my wife. My wife was cooking fulka roti. In North India, we do a little bit photograph. This is just an example to make you understand. She was wearing this roti, and she asked me, Abhishek, can you help me in frying it? So I said, yes, I'll do that. So on the gas, I started frying this roti, and she did it very well. The roti got swollen very easily, and I was about to keep it in the stock, but then she told me, Abhishek, it's not properly done. You have to move both, not just because it's done. You have to, so then I learned that, okay, just because roti is well, it does not mean it's done. It does not mean that. So now, what is take of this this story? The take of this story is, lot of time we see certain things in front of us and we think that is reality. But expert knows what is reality, not us. So my wife, being expert of that roti, she knew that I'm doing mistake. Similarly, bankers are expert of this system. The institution like Manage and other institutions are expert of it. So when you go to expert, they tell you, and you have to understand, the mistakes what you are doing. And when you understand that, then you can improve it. So respectfully, I would say the senior officer of SBI told me that, Abhishek, you are not able to, your project is wonderful, but your way of communication, that you should communicate to bank, somewhere that there is a gap. So please go, try to understand, and then come back. We are open for you as many times you come back. So within a period of 6 months, 2 rejection and 3rd approval. Just you can understand how it happens when you do things rightly. Now, before we go for question answer, I'll show you something which I have with me from my project, so you can understand what details I'm talking about. So see, when we were preparing DPR, so this is a DPR for PM EGP. The DPR is mostly prepared by CA, but the figures were provided by us. So the basic figure, I'll show you the basic raw cost which is here, on which my banking partner have asked me question. So here you can see raw material, and you can see the cost is somewhere around 72 lakh rupees. Now my banker wanted to know how this figure came here, how this unit price derived, how this rate per unit I have derived in this statement. And if you have not checked traction, it's hard to reply. I'll show you my reply. And then they also wanted to know, different expenses that we have mentioned here, electricity and all other expenses, salary and other things. They wanted to know how this part is coming. And, again, if you see here, 1 crore 13 lakh rupees approximately is mentioned, but exact amount was somewhere around 1 crore 20 lakh rupees. So, a banker, banking partner wanted to understand that how these figures are coming, and see how, when you explain them, if you see, so you have to be ready for all this kind of thing. You can't say this is a silly question. So if you see, I have mentioned different fruits and vegetable names, and the rates are also mentioned here. Now, rates are also mentioned here, and you will be able to see the date. So it is 15 February 2020, and then every month I have mentioned the rates here. And these rates are, based on the APMC's rate in Varanasi. In APMC, there is a website where you can see all the daily rates. Obviously, the exact rate for everything is not same. It fluctuates, but somewhere around this. So to prove them, we have took the 6-month average mandi, that is APMC rate. We have told them this is our actual traction, and in actual traction, in some of the vegetable you can see our rates we have bought expensive than APMC rate, and in some of vegetable we have bought cheaper than APMC. So doing traction, we were buying it from different parties. So we had to put all this figure to explain to our banker, and doing that, you can see for 1000 kg, I have gave them example that in our traction, 79% we have sold vegetable and 21% we have sold fruits. So based on that, we have to explain them. So be ready to explain the slightest and smallest thing. And by explaining all those figures, and these figures were not prepared by CA, it was prepared by me. So you have to be ready to learn so much that you can explain your project in deep. So now if you see here, the raw cost is 75 lakh rupees, and the sales cost is 1 crore 20 lakh rupees. So now the figure which we wanted, the bank wanted to understand, has been explained from above details. So please be ready with all these aspects. And then, with in terms of expenses, they wanted to know how these electricity expenses are coming. You have to mention what are the utensils you are using, how much per unit it will take. All these things, bank can ask you in detail. And don't run away. Sometimes, because bank is asking you many questions, we run away. It's easy. If you have understanding of your project, you can work out, you can and reply them. So don't worry about these questions, and reply them as much as possible. And then we have shown them a map to make them understand virtually how we are going to work out. They ask you the efforts you have done till date, and they will ask you efforts you have done till date, and they will also ask you what other risk that you are going to take. So you can see how many points we have explained them in 28 points and all other things. Whatever we have done till date and what are the risk factors, everything we have explained to them. So not just verbally, but you have to document things. And if you're ready to do all these things, I'm not sure why bank will not fund you. So, but be ready with full knowledge of your product and your organization. Thank you very much for giving me time. If there is any question, I'm ready to reply those questions.
Thank you, sir. That was indeed a great explanation, because each and every startup does face a lot of difficulty in convincing the banker, because debt financing is a bit tough when compared with other sort of financing. And we have a third speaker who is lined up in the similar terms, who is basically a banker by himself. Mr. Kothuri Raghava Rao, who has completed his MCOM and MBA. He's got total span of 35 years working with SBI. Worked as a branch manager, loan sanction manager, and chief manager at SME CCC. Currently, the faculty with State Bank Institute of Rural Banking for the span of 6 years. I welcome Mr. Kothuri Raghava Rao to start a session. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kaushik. So whether my voice is audible, sir?
Yes, sir, it is audible, sir.
My PPT is also visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Very good morning, good afternoon, friends. Thank you very much for, first of all, I am very thankful to the, how can I speak? Okay. I'm very thankful to the managed officials for giving this opportunity. So before me, two speakers, Mr. Anil Shankar sir and Abhishek sir, already told about this project, but I will start with what is a detailed project report. So this DPR is nothing but a primary report for the formulation of the investment proposal. Investment decisions are taken based on the detailed incorporated in the study. So the first step in feasibility study is the need of analysis. It is nothing but a written plan for forward work. So here I am going to discuss the basic things what a banker will verify whenever they have received one project report. Here actually my previous speakers discussed to a large extent, but from a banker's point of view, generally, what are the things we have to verify? I am going to take the examples of very, very small things because in the participants, I do not know who are the well educated or who are in the initial stage, middle stage, or final stage. That's why I am taking the examples of very basic things. Please understand and apply the concept for your product. Then automatically the thing is same. The application is for you apply the same thing for your product. So I am taking the examples of suppose horticulture or dairy, poultry like that. So you apply for your product the same thing. So here, first of all, what is a product? So from a banker's point of view, it is nothing but project is nothing but it is an investment activity. Some amount must be invested. For what purpose? To creating the assets or to acquiring the asset. So sometimes we may purchase outright, say machinery, vehicles, we may purchase it, but we will construct the land building, factory, so it will be created. So we will use that amount for creation of the asset for acquiring the asset. Then what purpose we are creating or acquiring these assets? These assets must perform some economic activity. That is the important. They must generate some income. That is the purpose of investment in the assets. And we will complete this project within a scheduled time frame. So you will not take your own time. Whatever the time required, you will mention in the project report how much time it will take to complete the project. Within that project also in different stages, how much time it will take. And also, generally, whenever we call it as a project, that means that project will give the returns or benefits to the investor for a longer period. Then only we call it as a project. So whatever the investments we are making for short term, we will not call it as a project. Whenever we are investing and we are getting the returns or profits for a number of years, then only we call it as a project. So a project is nothing but consisting of all these issues. Now, what are the examples of a project in agricultural area? Because the main institute is agricultural, our institute is also agricultural. So I have given some small examples only. Maybe it may be a minor irrigation, or it may be a dairy, or it may be a poultry project, or farm mechanization, or horticulture, or food processing, what our friend now State Abhishek has told, or a rural grow, or cold storages, or a farmhouse, or a greenhouse, anyone. So we will first put some amount and create some assets, and that assets will give the income. That income is not for a short-term period. So whatever the project it may be, of course now you are the entrepreneurs, agri startups. So whatever your activity may be, that activity will run for a longer period and it will give the returns to the investor. Then we will go to the what are the different stages in a project. So the first one is identification of the project. Who will identify the project? Whether maybe the borrower, or the banker, or the government agency, or the NGO, or the consultant, anyone. Or nowadays these agri startups, entrepreneurs, you may identify the project. What we will do after identification? We will prepare the preparation of the project report. Again here, who will prepare the project report? Actually, the borrower will prepare the project, but actually it is not possible to all the borrowers to prepare the project report because they are not specialized in that area. They are specialized in business, but they are not specialized in preparation of the financial statements. Then who will do it? They may take the help of a chartered accountant, or they may take the help of a consultant. But here, what our friend Mr. Abhishek sir told and excellently, even though The project report was prepared by a chartered accountant or consultant, but here I am using the word generally banking terminology, the borrower or the entrepreneur is having full knowledge about the project. Here only majority mistakes are going on. Whenever the customer approaches the bank, whenever they are asking some questions about the project, they are saying, sir, sorry, sir, I do not aware this project was prepared by my chartered accountant or my consultant. But it is not at all acceptable. Suppose I am a banker, whenever I am asking any question, suppose the customer is saying that it was prepared by chartered accountant, I will inquire him, I will come back to you. What I think, tomorrow, if I ask you are not paying the loan or installment amount, please pay the amount. Then what the customer says, sir, I will ask my chartered accountant whether he permits, then I will pay. Maybe like that I am thinking. So even though the financial statements are, even though the project report was prepared by the chartered accountant, but the customer must aware at least the minimum things or basic things are major issues. What is your sales? What is the percentage of growth you are expecting in the coming years? Where the raw material is available? How much days raw material you are maintaining at any point of time? Where you get the raw materials from? How much distance it is? Where you are going to storage these raw materials? So what is the maximum ceiling on raw materials? Is there any ceiling from government side? So many questions there, because several times the bankers are also not aware of so many things. So to know the issue, they may raise the questions, not to cross-examine the customer. But we are also to aware, because we are now human beings, we do not aware what is the entire things going in the country. So like that also they may ask the question. So you are in a position as a customer, as an entrepreneur, you are aware about your project. First, you must have some confidence. My project is excellent project. Any banker can come forward to sanction the loan, whether it may be State Bank or some other bank or other private bank or ICICI Bank. Why they will not give that much confidence? First you are having. Whenever you are discussing, you will tell on what basis you have prepared that project report, on what basis you have put the figures there, how you are going to achieve. If you are telling these things confidently, generally the other side person will satisfy. Here only the major important thing. When you are first time facing the bankers, you must present your project report within full confidence and appraisal. Who will do this appraisal, sir? That is the responsibility of the banker. Whenever you have prepared the project report, whenever you have submitted, the bankers will do the appraisal part. Then the implementation part is again to the customer only after sanctioning the loan. Okay, but sometimes if the loan may sanction or may not sanction, you will start your activity with some other help. That is your part on implementation. Then evaluation. Who will evaluate the project? Again the customer, as well as if the loan was sanctioned, the banker. So these are the different stages. 5 stages are there. Just for the, I told you, all these are the basic things just for understanding. Then here it is the important. While preparing the project report, or as a banker, whenever I am going to check a project report, what are the things I have kept in mind? What are the points where I have to focus? Like that, you also, as an entrepreneur, as a borrower, you keep in mind while preparing the project report all these 7 aspects. These are very, very important. While preparing your project report, of course, the names may be different. You may mention in the other names, but the things are whenever the project report was prepared by a consultant or chartered accountant, generally they are aware it. But the entrepreneurs, some new entrepreneurs are also there. So you will also remember these aspects: technical aspects, commercial aspects, managerial aspects, social aspects, organizational, economic, and financial. These 7 things are important. Now I am going to discuss one by one aspect, because it is only the primary thing in your project report. Here again I am telling, I am taking the basic things as examples. You apply the things for your project, whatever the activity you are going to take, you apply those things. So the first one is technical aspects. So what is this technical aspect? What will come under the technical aspects? So here, the technical aspects may be here, suppose I think that we are a farmer. You came to my the bank for some example, some activity purpose. So what type of technology you are using? Suppose our friend says ripening, cleaning of fruits and vegetables. What type of technology it is required? Whether this technology is a tested one or a new one. Whether it is this technology is available within our country or whether it is imported. What type of knowledge is required to the person to utilize this technology? Whether my customer is having that much of technical knowledge, or if he is going to recruit some expert to implementing this technology, if he is going to recruit a separate person, whether his salary and allowances have shown in the expenditure part of the project report, these things I have to verify. I will verify and I will satisfy. Like that, you will also give focus on this area. Then suppose if we are going to the cultivation of a horticultural grass, then I will see what type of soil it is. Whether this soil is suitable for this crop or not. Suppose I am working as a branch manager in a hilly area, rocky area. One customer came, sir, I want to cultivate, for example, I am having 10 acres of land, I want to cultivate some mango plantation. Whether then what I will see, whether these lands where I am working, whether these lands are suitable for this mango plantation or not. So, if it is not suitable, how is he going to convert to suitability? If he is converting the land in a suitable manner, how much expenditure is going to incur? Whether this expenditure was added in the project report or not. Whether this conversion or changing the land, whether it is correct to do. These things I have to verify. These things you have to explain in your project report also. And also you see the location. Suppose, again I am telling these examples only to our branch managers. So altitude and slope. Suppose in Hyderabad city, I am working now. One customer came. Sir, last time I went to some Ooty. Wherever I am moving, in every area, in the Ooty is only tea plantations I have found. So in my 10 acres of land near Hyderabad, I want to start some tea plantation. Whether it is possible in Hyderabad city, like that, we will see. If he says that, sir, nowadays it is possible on account of some improvement in the technology, if it is the case, he may substantiate his reasons. So climatic conditions, so availability of water, variety of the plants or breed of animals. So all these things will come under technical aspect. So depending upon your nature of activity, depending upon your product, you will substantiate whatever the technical issues. It may not applicable all the 6 things what I have mentioned here for your product. In your product, it may be one. So you concentrate on those issues, you describe it in your project report and you substantiate.
So could you come closer to the, sir, sorry to interrupt, sir. Could you come closer to the mic, sir? You're getting a bit low voice.
Okay, okay. So we will concentrate on these areas. Is it okay, sir? Kaushik sir, now?
A bit okay, sir. If there is a kind of headphone, that would be great, sir. Else you can continue with the same, sir.
Okay, then commercial aspects. So here, what is the commercial aspects? Again, for your easy understanding purpose, I am taking an example of one small dairy unit. So what are the commercial aspects for a dairy unit? So there is a forward linkage and backward linkages. What is this backward and forward? So whatever your activity may be, up to production stage, what are the things required? We call it as backward linkages. After production, how you are going to sell or dispose your products, we call it as a forward linkage. Suppose if it is a dairy activity, what will require up to production stage? The quality animals, that means the quality of the animal is required, and veterinary care, whether artificial insemination center is available nearby area, what is about fodder, where you are going to get, and where the green grass is available. So watershed, these things you will mention item wise. So here, again, I will tell, while selecting the animals also, I will give one live example, how sometimes the government officials or sometimes the borrowers are doing mistake. Here I will give one live example. When I am working as a branch manager of one branch, at that time the government of Andhra Pradesh, the erstwhile Andhra Pradesh, take a decision. They want to improve the milk production in the Andhra Pradesh state. For that, they have introduced one scheme in the name of Pasu Kranti Padakam. In Telugu, it is Pasu Kranti Padakam. What the scheme is? They want to give 2 animals for each poor family. What is the cost of the animals? Approximately 50,000. So they are giving 26,000 as subsidy. They asked the bankers, you sanction a loan of 24,000 for 2 animals. So where they will get the animals? So they want to get the animals from Haryana, Punjab and Delhi area. So they have purchased the animals in Punjab or Delhi, and they have transported the animals through trains to the nook and corner of entire Andhra Pradesh. What was happened? Those animals are suitable in Delhi and some Punjab areas, but they have not adjusted the climatic conditions of Andhra Pradesh. Moreover, it took 10 days, more than 10 days for transporting the animals from Delhi to here from corner of the Andhra Pradesh. So within 2 to 3 months, almost all animals were died. Entire loans sanctioned by the bankers was become NPAs. You see, a small mistake while selecting the animals. So as a borrower, you also think whenever we are selecting some breed or some plant, whether it is suitable, how it is, whether it is possible to implement those things in our area. That is the important thing. And then nowadays, here for suppose for a dairy unit, the important is green grass. How you are going to acquire? Whether you are having your own lands or whether you are going to take the lease, whether if you are taking the land on leased basis, whether this lease cost was added in the project report, how many animals we are going to maintain, for these main number of animals, how many acres of land required for green grass purpose, you will calculate, you will mention, you are in a position to satisfy the others, that is the bankers, or whoever it may be, wherever you are going for funding. And also forward linkages. It is very, very important. And nowadays, production is not a big issue. Issue is how you are going to market, how you are going to sell your product in the market. Because nowadays it is a cutthroat competition is going in the market. For each and every place the multinational companies are available. Then how you are going to sell? How you are going to project your product in the market? Is there any tie-up arrangement available? How? So you will be in a position to tell and satisfy the others. So all these things will come under commercial aspects. Now I am moving to the managerial aspect. So out of the all 7 aspects, I think that this is very, very important. So who is the person behind the project? What is his knowledge? What is his technical knowledge? What is his experience? What is about his credit history? What is about his experience in the present area? Whether he is taking this project just for time pass or just for getting the benefits from the government, or whether he is really interested. So these things generally the bankers will think, see. So whenever you are going to the bankers, whenever you are going to present, you will be prepared in these areas. You will project yourself. Sir, I am so and so, my educational qualification is so and so. Up to now, my experience is so and so. So if I have taken this project, I am going to make it success in this manner. So these things, and also those people who enter this project is not simply depending on only 1 or 2 persons. Who is your employees, technical managers, HR people? What is their knowledge? What is their experience? What is their qualifications? Your employees or your partners, whoever it may be. So you are in a position to tell those things also to your financials. maybe bankers or maybe NBFCs, whoever it may be. Generally, as a lender, I am keeping in mind all these points because our friend Abhishek sir told again, I am not giving my own money. I am using the public money. So I am responsible for that public money. So that we are taking some more precautions. So here again, what is this social aspects? This is also one of the aspects. What will come under social aspect? Pollution. Whenever the benefit comes, it is going to whether it may be a section of the society, or whether for this product, whether this social acceptance is there, or is there any problem with the labor? So we call all these things as a social aspects. So I will give one simple example. What is this social aspects, so that you can easily remember and understand what is the social aspect. If you remember the Tata Nano cars, we know Tata is a big entrepreneur, good entrepreneur. He wants to start his nano cars in which states are in the initial stage? In West Bengal. But now where is the project? It is in Gujarat. Why the project was shifted from Bengal to Gujarat? The reason is this is some social aspect only. Whatever the reason, whether it is correct or not, we will not go into discussion for that. So due to some problem, local problem or political problem or labor problem or farmers problem, he was shifted his project from Bengal to Gujarat. Because he's a big entrepreneur or customer, he was shifted his factory. But what is about an ordinary customer, ordinary borrower? After spending 10% or 20% of the project cost, if he wanted to shift the project from one place to another place, almost the project was collapsed only. But Tata was successful. Okay, so whenever you are preparing the project, whenever we are going to sanction a project, we will keep in mind this point also. Due to this project, whether this type of problem may come, is there any possibility? So this point also we will keep in mind. Now I am moving to the next aspect, that is organization.
Sir, sorry to interrupt, sir. It will be great if you can just speed up the slides because we have good amount of slides and we want to also go with a Q&A interaction with the audience.
What we are saying, I will complete in quick manner.
Yes, sir. Speed up the slides because we have good amount of slides.
Yes, I am going up to 20 slides only. Okay, thank you.
Okay,
so
sir. Okay,
now
sir.
I am moving to the organizational aspect. So in the organizational aspect, because nowadays so many government agencies are working. So what, depending upon your product, so you take the help of those departments. First, you consult. What are the benefits are given by the government? Nowadays, in agricultural area, the government of India is giving so many benefits. The government is giving much importance for agriculture. So they wanted to double the farmers' income by 2022, as well as they have in the last year budgets they have created agri infrastructure fund as a, and also under Atmanirbhar Bharat also they have given so many advantages or benefits to the agri sector, and also they have introduced the e-Nam facilities. So many things are there. So if you have maintained some good liaison or consultation with the respective department people, so that they will tell what type of advantages or what type of incentives are available from the government side, so that you will utilize those benefits or those what may call subsidies or whatever it may be, so that your project will to that extent get the benefits. So what are the economic aspects? So of course for small activities these economic aspects are not are relevant, but whenever it is a big project, suppose if you are going to import some raw material from one country, or you are going to export your product to which country, so depending upon the country some risk will be there. So which country we are dealing? Suppose nowadays if anything we want to import from either Pakistan or from China, some risk was involved. Like that, you will keep in mind those points also. Now we will see the important one for the bankers is financial aspects. So the viability, earning capacity, and repaying capacity. Generally, the bankers are giving importance for this area only. Because we are sanctioning the loan, our main aim is whether this borrower is in a position to repay his loan amount within the time frame or not. So for that only we are concentrating mainly. So here you will substantiate our friends, our first sir, Anil Shankar sir, shown the Excel sheet. What is your sources of incomes or profits? What is your repayment obligation? Whether the available funds are sufficient to repay this amount, loan amount or not. So you must be in a position to tell to the bankers or the financials in a systematic manner and in a confident manner. So these are the three different stages in the implementation of the project. Now I am skipping these things. Investment, the first one is investment period. So during this period, generally there is no repayment. You ensure that your auditor, of course, auditors will aware, but sometimes they were putting for repayment of interest portion. It is also not good because you are investing, you are creating the assets, so there is no repayment during this investment period. The second one is the development period. Just after completion of the project, to standardize, some time will be required. We call it as a teething time or starting time to well establish and starting full production. So as a entrepreneur, you see that the focus of the implementing agency at this stage shall be to see that this period is reduced as far as possible. So you ensure that part only. The third one is full production period. So here during this period only, the borrower or the entrepreneur is receiving the benefits to a full extent. So at this time, you will utilize all the sources, and if there is any small problems, you will overcome, and you will see that which may crop up, hamper and full production, and see that the funds are not diverted. Here it is the important. So whatever the amount you are receiving, you show how this amount is going to utilize. That is the important one. So here I told financial aspects. So the financial aspects, what are the important things as a banker we are giving importance? The first one is internal rate of return, IRR. Of course, I am not going to explain it. Here IRR means, so whatever the investment and what are the benefits, if we discount those future benefits, what is the rate of return from this project? So generally we are considering, if the return is 15%, we are considering the projects. If it is lesser than 15%, actually it is not advantage to the customers or the borrowers or the entrepreneurs also. So we are generally this part will be taken care by the auditors or consultants. The second one is, I told, repaying capacity. This is very important. For how to know what is the repaying capacity of the borrower? For that, the bankers are calculating DSCR ratio, debt service coverage ratio. What is this DSCR ratio? Here I am giving simple formulas only. So PAT, profit after tax, plus depreciation, plus interest on term loan by interest on term loan plus term loan installment amount. What does it use the information? How much funds available with the borrower? What is his repayment obligation? Whether the available funds are sufficient to repay the installment amount. That is the information we will arrive from DSCR ratio. For that, the bank has given some benchmarks. If your repayment obligation is 100 rupees, you are having the funds of 150 rupees. Or minimum to minimum, it is 120 rupees you are having. Then only we will fix 100 rupees as a repayment obligation. Then the last one is break-even point. What is break-even point, sir? It is nothing but where the unit no loss and no profit. At what point of sales the unit is recovering its entire expenditure. So these are the formulas. I am not going to discuss about those things. So break-even point is very important, especially in case of manufacturing units. So how to interpret this break-even point? If the unit is recovering its entire expenditure at the rate of point of 50% of its capacity, so the risk is very low because the remaining 50% of your production is available to earn the profits to the customer or the entrepreneur or the borrower. If the company achieving the break-even point at the rate of 70%, the remaining 30% cushion only available to the investor or the borrower or the entrepreneur. So then the risk is very high. That means wherever the break-even point is low, the risk is low. So whenever you have submitted your financial statements, generally the bankers will calculate the DSCR ratio, the bankers will calculate the break-even point and IRR. Then whenever it was achieved the benchmarks, generally the bankers will show the positive towards your project for sanctioning a loan. So it is a nutshell, whatever we have discussed, the elements of project report, whatever we have discussed, those things only. So your project report consisting of all those things, details about the promoters, employees, infrastructure, and customer, and the area of operation, and where you are getting your raw materials, means of financing, how much your own funds, how much funds you are getting from the bank, how much funds you are expecting from the others. So what is about your financial statements, balance sheet, profit and loss account, funds flow statement, and break-even point and conclusion. So these things must be available with your project report. Then the bankers will analyze it, and if they are satisfied about your project, definitely they are in forefront to sanction the loans, because the bankers' main duty is mobilizing the deposits and sanctioning the loans. If we have mobilizing the deposit, if we have not sanctioned the loan, it is a loss to the bank. Where is the money to the bank to pay the interest on their deposits? So generally, never bankers are negative to sanction the loan. They are always positive to sanction the loans. Moreover, one thing, generally so many people are thinking that collateral security is important for the bankers, but it is not correct, friends. Collateral security is always the secondary thing to the bankers only. What is the first thing? Whether this project is viable or not, economically viable, technical feasibility is there or not, whether this unit is generating the income, whether this income is sufficient to repay the bank loan or not. That is the important to the bankers. Okay, friends. Thank you and all the best to you. And once again, thanks for managing officials for giving the opportunity. With this, I am starting.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for clearing out the myths in regards with banking, like startups approaching the bank. Obviously, they will be having a lot of questions if they will be getting the loan or not. This will some sort of create a kind of a clarity. And yes, sir, we have a couple of questions, and also request Mr. Yuvraj, our business manager, Manage CIA, to take up the questions.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, all the speakers today with us. So we have got all different perspectives, how equity financing would do, how to prepare a pitch deck for financing, how a bank would see a DPR preparation, how a startup should approach and have a dual pronged approach. You should not be restricted with one or two banks, how you should approach more number of banks, how you should be able to pitch your case to the bankers. See, I myself as a banker earlier was processed extensively DPRs of loan proposals of more than 3,000 crores over a period of 4 years. So I'll share my 2 cents of knowledge here before we wrap it up. Point number 1, don't stick to one particular branch long. You approach more than one banker at a time, because bank has their own restrictions. I have seen most of the questions is I've seen most of the question and answers directed today is towards banks are not providing collateral free loans. As already sir suggested, we do agree that most of the loans are collaterals, but it doesn't mean they should only give collateral loans. It's all about how you can convince. That's the reason we brought Abhishek Sankrit today, to show how a persistence and passion towards your project can help you getting a loan. So that's a specific reason we had a startup today. I would request Abhishek quickly to share 1 minute feedback on that.
Thank you, sir. Yes, you rightly said that most of the loan are on collateral, but that does not mean that there is no collateral free loans. I have also gone through certain questions, but I would like to say to my colleagues, it's your confidence, it's your risk taking ability and your preparedness and your persistence that helps you in getting these loans. In city like Varanasi, getting a collateral free loan for a startup, it was most difficult thing But we were very persistent, and as sir said, we have approached regularly to different branches and different banks. We have also approached to the senior authorities where we understood that there is some gap. So you have to understand that it's all our responsibility as a startup to get what we want to get. Ultimately, it's our goal, it's our dream. And I can tell you one thing. There are collateral-free loans provided to me as well, and I'm not sure it's not provided to you. Why not? So you have to ask this question to yourself. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abhishek. So I'm moving to the second point, which is asked by DPR. Multiple questions asked. What is the difference between a business plan and DPR? Predominantly, it is same. It's all about see, business plan can be in the context of raising a fund equity for equity also. DPR typically in the sense most of the cases prepared for raising a debt basically. Please understand, banks are dealing with public money. Everybody knows it is our money. Please see their point of view also. As Abhishek has suggested, approach more than one at a time. We are here to always help you. If anybody faces problem in getting bank loan, you can always talk to our team or anybody in your circles. Go and talk to a banker first. Anybody, you need not apply a loan today, but you can go and talk to a banker. If I need loan for a business, what do you need to do? We have our experts also today. We are going to give their email IDs. Ragarao sir is here, is seasoned banker with State Bank of India. We have Anil Shankar with us today, a seasoned, accomplished chartered accountant, as well as I helped multiple startups raise money. That's the reason we are here today. For not just resource persons, but practitioners who are on the field, who is helping the startups, who has got the money. So thank you very much for being here. We look forward to your presence in our upcoming webinars. We thank our Director General, Dr. B. Chandrasekhara, our Director Agriculture Extension, Dr. Sharavan Raj, and CEO for our Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, our teammates, Innovation Manager Mr. Alok, Content Developer Jeenath, our Business Executive Mr. Kaushik, driving force behind this webinar series. Thank you, everybody. Second wave is very difficult to face. Please make sure everybody is safe. Stay safe along with you and your family. Make sure that they are safe. See you in upcoming webinar next Saturday. Thank you. Have a great day ahead.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Abhishek, Ragarao sir, and